On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the third panel discussion. The topic, the Instagram effect, how digital-first brands are redefining real estate. This has to be my favorite topic because I'm a YouTube talk show host. I'm a content creator. So Instagram, YouTube, these things really, really appeal to me, right? So I'm personally looking forward to this from a real estate lens. So this session is going to be chaired on stage by Mr. Aayush Puri, who's the head ANAROCK channel partner and ANACITY. Can I have a big round of applause for Mr. Aayush Puri, please, ladies and gentlemen. He's played a key role in scaling the platform to over 600,000 units across India, the Middle East and Africa, and his leadership at ANAROCK channel partners has helped standardize brokerage aggregation, transforming a historically fragmented sector. Well done, thank you so much. I'll now be announcing and introducing our speakers in alphabetical order. My first speaker over here, a commerce graduate, began in tax consulting but soon gravitated to technology and innovation. His insight that delighted customers become a brand's strongest promoter and inspired the launch of Reloy in 2015, reimagining loyalty for real estate. Please give it up for Mr. Akhil Saraf, founder and CEO, Reloy. Good to see you, Mr. Saraf, once again. How are you doing? So many familiar spaces. It almost feels like every event you're meeting the same people, no? Because it's been a long time for me as well with real estate. Slide is wrong? You want to reveal the speakers for the next session before, sir? ऐसे नहीं चलेगा. Can we have the slide for this one, please? Huh? थोड़ा सा suspense तो होना चाहिए, right? Huh? Yeah. We'll have a lot of suspense in the awards, but why not have something during the conclave? Can we put the right slide, please, before I move forward? Hanji, thank you, Bhavin. And just a bit of a request to keep the social media aesthetics in play. ये तो topic भी है social media वाला Instagram. So जिस हिसाब से photo order आएगा, I'll request all of you to take your seats as per that. So let's hope कि इसी हिसाब से हो. So maybe I should wait because I don't want people to rearrange themselves time and again. Let the slide be done and then I'll be announcing further. I want to minimize the inconvenience, so I think that should be the right way. Do you want me to continue? Do you need more time there at the console? Huh. Yeah, correct. Thank you. So Akhil ji should be here. You replace with him and then he can go over there. Thank you. हाँ यही मुझे बार-बार नहीं करवाना था to ensure that there's smoothness. All right, thank you. So my next speaker over here leads the firm's business legacy with a forward-looking vision. Her practice focuses on creating thoughtful, functional environments where continually questioning how design influences perception and behavior. She's also the founder of the Perspective Nazaria venture that explores different facets of truth across design, luxury, and contemporary thought. Please give it up for Hafsa Khan, design architect, Australia. I am Buildcon. Please give it up for Ms. Khan, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll request you to take your seat. My next speaker over here, he's the primary driving force behind Koffeetech Communications, one of India's fastest growing marketing partners for real estate and new age brands. Known for his bold thinking and deep execution mindset, he has helped 70 plus developers scale from project launch to literally sold out through integrated digital strategies. Please give it up for Mr. Jay Rathod, founder and CEO, Koffeetech Communications. Pleasure to see you once again, Mr. Rathod. How are you doing? My next speaker is an experienced brand strategist and digital marketing leader with a strong footprint in creative business development, strategic communications, PR, and digital transformation. Through his leadership, ONEDIGITAL emphasizes leveraging digital platforms and AI-driven marketing practices to elevate brand presence and, most importantly, business outcomes. Please give it up for Nishit, Gururani, brand strategist, co-founder at ONEDIGITAL. How are you doing? My next speaker, of course, is a real estate expert, is a business growth and strategy leader with more than 20 years of experience building scalable revenue engines, category-defining brands, and IPO-ready narratives across media, entertainment, consumer-facing enterprises, and asset-heavy businesses. She has led enterprise-scale GTM transformations in aligning brand, sales, digital, and customer experience to deliver measurable business outcomes. Please give it up for Palak Dani. A huge round of applause for her, please. Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Dani. My next speaker over here has more than 20 years of experience across luxury real estate, FMCG, education, and consumer platforms. He has held leadership roles at Unilever, the Lodha Group, and Rustomjee, working closely with boards, MDs, and investors to transform marketing from a cost center to a measurable growth engine. Please give it up for Rushabh Shah, Chief Marketing Officer, Rustomjee. Thank you so much, Mr. Shah. My next speaker leads integrated marketing across a large township ecosystem spanning residential, commercial, and community initiatives. With over a decade of experience and deep expertise in brand building, digital growth, and demand generation, he works closely with sales, pre-sales, and distribution to deliver measurable outcomes and memorable buyer experiences. And not to forget, he's also very passionate about turning insights into action and building communities through storytelling, basically converting actions into results. Please give it up for Mr. Sushant Kokate, Head of Marketing and Strategy at Pride World City, Pune. Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you. I don't know, there's a saying called Hum Saath Saath Hai when it comes to 7 people. I don't know how to call this for 8 people, but you can still clap and appreciate. 8 logo ka panel, kudos to Realty Plus, only they can do it. And all experts all under one roof in one simple day. So thank you so much, and I pass it over to you. You have the timer there in front of you.
Perfect.
And thank you.
I think my job is less moderation, more time management today. So if we can just keep the answers a bit crisp. But good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Reality Plus for organizing yet again another fantastic conclave. I think I'm here almost every year, and I still am amazed the next year that I come in here. Without further ado, real estate has been an industry that's been largely successful without the need of disruption, without the need of digitization, and still a lot word of mouth referrals, right? Not as much on social media. But I think that's changing at a very, very unprecedented pace. The new age buyers, sellers that I call the Gen Z, they're the Spotify generation because they want everything on demand. They want to compare EMIs online. They look at Google reviews before buying a property. They want virtual site tours. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. Why is it that the new age buyers, sellers want to look at your brand on Instagram before they pick up your phone and speak to you, whether you're a sales agent or you're from a developer house, right? So with that, let me start off with the bigger picture, which is the topic for today, the Instagram effect and how real estate is being digitized or transformed by Instagram and social media. Nowadays, a project is not launched if it's not launched on Instagram, and somehow the same applies for couples. Unless you're not Instagram official, you're not launched, and you're not officially together. So I'll start with possibly the one in the most colorful suit, Nishit. I'll start with you. So as a brand strategist, from that particular lens, what's the most common disconnect between a real estate brand's Instagram perception and the market reality?
Sure. So thank you for the question. And, before that, I just want to say one thing, that whenever we are discussing social media, it's always about Gen Zs. But when I see my mom, her friends, and, everyone else, they are more on Instagram today. So it's not only Gen Z, it's also the other, a large group of audience which is there on Instagram who are actually part of the TAM, who are actually the buyers. So one of the major disconnects, which I feel that today, what happens is when you open Instagram, you see that sunlit corner or that work from home corner, and that's how it's being sold, right? Like those things are being sold to you. But nobody's talking about 3 major things which every buyer wants, right? What is that? So they want to talk about the price point, the location, and of course the ROI. Because most of them, I feel, are second home buyers and not even first. That is what my experience has been. So I think that is one of the major disconnects that I feel, okay, that you see everything, the amenities are so much, but when you actually move to the project, it's delayed or they're not there. So I think there's a major disconnect. And I think if the content is, like somebody comes in, hey, 5 things that you should know about this. And, so beyond that, if we could also talk about the actual thing, which is the ROI that you will be receiving, right? And the location, And of course, like the real amenities and the real UGC content and not the fake one, which we already know what happens. So I think that will solve major problem.
Super. No, I do agree that a lot of the sort of grandparents as well are now on Instagram forwarding reels and asking why you don't accept their follow requests. But with that, branching off to Jay. Jay, I'm going to ask you a slightly tougher question. So what mistakes do real estate brands commonly make on social media that dilute their brand equity?
Hi, thank you for the question. I think that's the tough one, but still I think I would have to answer. I think Instagram is the first step before even the site visit starts. So I think your feed either makes it or breaks it, because I see most of the developers have made Instagram a poster wall with festive posts, stock renders, and just founder birthday wishes. So I don't think that is what helps you to gain site visits or gain a better brand recall. And I think the second point I would say misalignment. Sometimes your site visit experience is far, far different than what you portray the project on Instagram. So I think that's where the maximum gaps are, that your Instagram should communicate the same language as what your salespeople on site speaks or say it experiences there. And I think last point, but not the least, I would say consistency. We have seen developers getting aggressive in the 2 weeks of launches and then sleeping with Happy Diwali, Happy Dussehra for 2 months. So I think in a category like real estate, where people are going to invest their life savings, we can't be absent for 2 months in any manner. I think I would just conclude that your Instagram post should either be with a purpose, clarity, or confidence for the buyer rather than just a stock post.
Right, and when we talk about this content, Palak, this one's for you. What kind of social media narratives, whether it's testimonials or lifestyle content, what would actually resonate with today's property buyers?
I think, like you said, narratives. Okay, today's consumers don't buy formats; they buy narratives. You are selling a brand, which they're going to live for throughout their lives. Okay, so once the brand narrative is set, the formats like maybe VR or drone or Instagram, okay, they are just enhancers. They will only enhance the product, ideally. For example, at the early stage of a life cycle, maybe a beautiful Instagram video would do wonders to the project. But when the customer is a little more serious, when they visit the site, maybe an AR, VR gives more confidence and clarity about the project. The testimonies, I think, works best when they have to create trust amongst the consumer and build in confidence. So this is not Instagram versus testimony versus VR. I think all of them together with the best narrative. So I think I would sum up saying that formats change, but narratives don't. So that's more important.
Fair. That's well put. Akhil, just on that point, do you think that digital first discovery has actually improved the lead quality, or has it just improved the sort of sales or lead volume that comes in for developers as well as for channel partners? And possibly if you could highlight a little bit on the conversion ratios that you see in the market now.
Okay, so I'll say something about digital first, right? Like, you have to be digital first. Like, most users are online, so debating whether you have to be there or not is irrelevant. What I see as a mistake that most brands make is that they end up advertising a cookie cutter ad, right? That 3 BHK at this price with swimming pool and gym. And as a user, once you stock one project, Instagram knows and is showing you the same ad on repeat from 10 different developers. How do you cut through that noise? Right, so I agree with Palak, the narrative is important, right? But the narrative can only get you the site visit. After that, it is the product, right? That if you're looking at a 1,400 square feet apartment versus an 800 square feet apartment selling at the same price in an area, you're going to buy the 1,400 square feet apartment, right? And this is a real example that exists in Bombay that is there, right? One has a better narrative, the other doesn't. So builders need to reinvent how they position themselves and what is it that they're communicating, right? The Instagram channel needs to be rethought of what you're putting out there to make sure that the customer who's looking for a product comes to you, right? In terms of conversion, I think I'll talk more about referrals because that's sort of where my domain comes in. Now, real estate is a very trust-based purchase, and we specialize in gifting a discount from a customer to their friend and getting a cashback on your property, right? In this, we see the highest conversions that happen across any channel, right? Like in some brands, in sustenance sales, we can see a 25% conversion from lead generation to sales, right? Because customers are not sitting idle, just coming, giving a lead and, doing that for kicks. Whereas, that can fall down to 1-2% if you see we are running a contest and we're giving out cricket tickets or something of that sort. At that point, conversion collapses because everyone just wants a, free ticket to India, Pakistan, I guess. Right?
Fair. No, and we've been working closely on this, on transforming the channel partner journey as well as for the developers. So I am fully on the same page as you. Hafsa, coming to you, or you're the only design architect, I think, on this panel. So as a design architect, how does social media influence the architectural storytelling and the client expectation in real estate projects? A lot of times clients come in with a certain perception of the project, what they've seen on social media, what they've seen online, versus when they come in and they're trying to imagine that space on site. How does that work?
See, to be very honest, social media has changed the entire perspective of, how a space should be perceived. Everybody's smart today. Everybody wants to be an architect. Everybody is an interior, in themselves. If you have somebody, they will say, I want it in such a way. They are smart today. The buyers, the clients, everybody is smart today. And considering that, AI has come in the play, because we as designers also lean back to AI, what happens is the renders have taken over in such a way that people have a perception of this space. So it's positive, yes, that they are smart enough to understand a space is supposed to look like that, but social media has also led in to a lot of expectations which might not happen quickly and will take time to deliver. So I think there are pros and cons to this, but of course, as we go by, situations will change. Things will be perceived better.
Great. Rushabh, coming to you. So, you're from Rustomjee, a large, well-known brand. So in a crowded Instagram feed, what differentiators have helped Rustomjee? There are a lot of luxury developers, a lot of boutique luxury developers. So what differentiators have helped Rustomjee to maintain brand salience amongst buyers?
So I think from a brand perspective, it is critical to first understand the medium itself. Instagram has a role to play. You've got YouTube as a channel where it has a specific role to play. And the brand needs to first accept what do they want to do with that particular platform, right? I've seen brands plaster top of the funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel, offer everything in one platform and expect that, okay, it should perform. And then they get frustrated that, it burnt all my money, but it's not giving me anything. So from that perspective, I think at a brand level, first is consistency in trusting the platform for the reason for it being into existence. Say, for example, at Rustomjee, we believe that top and mid funnel are the two things that we, depending on the project. I mean, if it's a launch, then it's a top funnel activity that we do. If it's sustenance, it's more mid funnel is what we do. And top funnel obviously is led by awareness. Mid funnel is more trust building, like Palak mentioned, where you have a lot of UGC content, testimonials, influencers. All of these guys play a major role, right? So consistency in using the medium in the way you envisaged it. And second is also being consistent. Now today, if you look at Rustomjee as a brand, we've got properties right from 50 lakhs to 150 crores. It's one handle that we have, right? And people are going to see. So the moment you look into the grid position, it should not feel as if when the 100 crore buyer comes, he should not feel alienated that what the hell is this, right? So when you look at our feed, you will see the consistency across all our projects. And to me, that is my differentiator. I mean, every project will have their own differentiator. But right now, I'm talking from a brand perspective that as a consumer, when I land up on Rustomjee spaces, what kind of content am I going to consume? Now, there is a point of view that you should have configs and price points and location being mentioned. And there is another point of view that we have, which is we are here to give you the life that you want in the future. If it's a ready product right now, if it's 3, 4, 5 years down the line, then 5 years down the line, what is it that you will enjoy at this property? Price, for me, like Hafsa also mentioned, most people will be aware that a 2-bed or a 3-bed in Juhu is going to cost me around this particular price point plus minus 10-20% depending on the developer. But nobody is unaware that, in a Juhu, I want a 2-bed at 2 crores. Nobody even goes out. So that is pretty hygiene. Consistency in us showcasing lifestyle and using the medium for what it is what is differentiating us.
Right. Got it. So one of the points you mentioned, which was trust building, and largely real estate has been a market where I mentioned this in the start as well, which is word of mouth, less so. People have been pretty successful on referrals. What Akhil mentioned. So Sushant, on this point, I have a slightly biased view to this, which I think that a lot of influencers or social media live streaming campaigns lead to more brand awareness than actual measurable sales outcomes. But would be good to hear from you in terms of what are your perspectives on this, and if you would agree or disagree, and how would that work?
Yeah, okay, so this is very relevant to actually the place where I belong. So at Pride World City, we nearly sell around 1,500 units on an average every year. But the best part is that we do nearly 45% of the direct sales. And when we are doing the direct sales of that quantum, we don't see Instagram only as a branding tool. We actually see it as a sales engine. And now, actually the reason that why this is working so well, so when we are talking about the creators, we are not necessarily using them only for the awareness. It's working really well while inviting the creators to come and curate content for you. You always have two choices. Either you will bring in the creators who belong to real estate, who have good knowledge about real estate. So these can be the creators who will come and create content which will be for the high intent audience. They'll come, they'll shoot the walkthroughs, they will talk about the location, they'll talk about the investment opportunity. Now this content is really helpful for all of those who are like high intent audience. And then parallelly, suppose for us, it's a township wherein we have a 5-star club, we have international school, we have other amenities also. So here comes a role play of all the lifestyle creators. So any food blogger or any food creator, the influencer, he can come and talk about the food that's there at the restaurant, the dining experience. Anybody who is a parenting creator, he can come and talk about the experience of the international school, what exactly is being taught over there and how the facilities are. So when you create a content which is actually very much relatable to the larger audience, that when the magic happens on performance marketing. It is also important that when you're creating so much of content, you take the license of it, you buy a certain timeline wherein you can use that content for the lead generation also. So whenever there is a shoot which is happening and which is giving you a content of say 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we are using that to create a lot of snippets. We are creating a lot of micro content out of those pillar content, and then we are using it for the performance marketing. Currently, there are two choices to do any performance marketing, wherein we can use the stock images, stock videos, and craft the ad copies out of it. But the best part is if the retention rate, or maybe the CTR, or maybe the cost per lead, the qualification, and the cost per site visit, cost per acquisitions, all of this is better when you are doing it on the content which has been created by the creators. The only thing is that the internal teams and the internal stakeholders need to be involved into the strategizing of the whole game of it. So when the whole mix goes that way, then the real magic happens. And that is when you can go beyond the awareness and actually take the funnel down to the consideration and conversion stage. About the live streaming also, it's something which is really, really helpful to actually help people validate the choice for that particular brand. So when the sites or when the sales offices are full during the weekends or maybe during the launch, that is the time when you just normally take the live streaming. It's not actually a polished content, it's not even script. It's just the footage, the live footage and the mahal of the whole sales office. But that is when the actual genuine content is actually seen by the audience who is waiting or who is actually aspiring but is not able to take decision. So when they see that people like them are taking decisions, people like them are doing the handshakes, doing the felicitations, celebrating, that's when the magic happens. So all of this actually really helps to the conversion rates. All of this does help in performance marketing also. But it's like we have to go beyond one single category of content wherein the real estate influencers will only come and they'll only talk about the product and only the high intent audience is being nurtured. All the other dimensions also need to be explored, is what I feel.
So do you think a Pride World City project can, would be closed on a social media? Do you think a property transaction in the future would close on social media?
So now this is a $1 trillion question. Actually, it's happening with some of the brands, and we are one of those brands who deliver on time. So the ones who are giving possessions on time are considered the trustworthy brands, and there are a lot many. So of course, many of us who are working for such brands are getting such kind of results, and that's the reason why we are seeing not the entire journey, but now the process has gone to a level wherein when the campaigns are planned, at least the EOIs are happening completely virtually now. So to lock my choice, to book, not to book, but to pre-book my inventory, people are going to a level wherein they are paying the token online, and then it's actually the hybrid model, I would say. So even now, if someone is claiming that 100% sales is happening digitally, it is happening in maybe the products which are investment products, the products which are secondary products, the products wherein the fractional investment products are there. But wherever the primary choices are being made and where the premiumness of the homes come, that is when the hybrid model works the best, I believe. So the entry happens through social media, through Meta. And now since the Meta ecosystem also brings in Instagram at one level with the Instagram beginning the game, so all the legal hand-holding or maybe the KYC and rest of the things, they happen on WhatsApp. But people don't actually really feel that it's trustworthy as of now. But down the line, I'm sure that 100% sales can be actually seen with some of the A-graded developers. And if that happens, starting Pride World City, nothing like it.
Super. Yeah, for me, to make a purchase on Instagram is slightly challenging. I still open my laptop for any large value purchase. But just on this, Nishit, on the point of trust, a lot of people now using social media to make certain purchases, look at certain brands. Since it's such a crowded market, which I mentioned earlier, how is it that your first touch point from an Instagram reel can convert into a site visit? Because since there's so many brands in the market, since you're, every minute, every second, when you wake up, you touch your phone, you look at, multiple social media applications, you look at multiple brands. How is it that you can earn trust, of a particular user, for channel partners? Should they be spending money on social media marketing like an Instagram?
So definitely. By the way, I feel that channel partners are creating a lot better content than most of the developers. That is my personal take. But I also feel, there are two things. One is that coming back to actually your, how you notice that, but I'm not saying that the developer should go there and, create the content. I'm talking about the ecosystem itself, right? I'm not asking, when we are talking about Instagram, it's just not the developer handles. It's also the other people. So for example, it could be an Ankur Ahuja who talks about investment. So if he talks about the project, I think a lot more people will find it sensible. So I think that is one, when you talk about trust, and you rightly mentioned there could be from all walks of life. It could be some fashion influencer, lifestyle influencer, food influencer, whoever has that kind of clout in the, the ecosystem, that builds the trust. And then when you talk about performance or purchasing, yes, then you run those performance ads and eventually, so usually, it's a very traditional game. Then there is brand awareness and consideration, conversion. I think today we are there on the ecosystem where we can directly focus all together and focus on one CTA, which could be anything from, maybe the lead coming to WhatsApp or lead generation or however. So that's what I feel. So trust is going to come not from the handle itself, but also from the ecosystem around it. So that's what I feel.
Super. Somehow the tougher questions land on you, Jay. But if a developer had to cut one digital channel tomorrow, so if Rustomjee or Pride World City had to cut one digital channel tomorrow, which should they cut first and why?
Okay, so I think, is it really against our business is what we are talking about? No, but I think what I feel is if a channel is not building trust or moving your customer one step closer to the site visit, it is not marketing, it's just a noise in the funnel is what I would like to talk about. I would say rather than cutting down the channels, firstly developers should understand what the platforms are all about. For example, I think it's more about cutting down the vanity rather than the value. For example, most of the developers, we know that there are no buyers, no consistency, no storytelling, such as Twitter or X, I think, which can be easily cut down for the developer handle. Or for some developers, even the YouTube, unless you don't have a strong content engine. Because I've seen most of the developers with 5-10 subscribers and just running ads with 0 videos posted on YouTube. So, and what I think we should really drive down the channels, like Instagram helps to create perception, Google helps to capture intent, and WhatsApp helps to move towards closure. I think that is what we should be focusing and doubling down altogether. And I think, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's well put. I think just going on to that, Akhil, to you, one of the questions that I've been wanting to ask you as well is that do real estate brands usually lose buyers on the first click, which is, let's say, on a WhatsApp or Instagram or Twitter, or is it the first site visit, or is it the final, when they're sitting in front of the closing manager and making the final negotiation? Is that where they usually end up losing a booking?
So I'll answer this question in 2 different ways, right? The first is that it's typically the systems that's broken, which causes a drop-off at each of these stages, right? So if it's, when the lead gets generated, it's typically because I don't get a call back in time, right? So everyone is getting spammed with like 100 calls. If I click and I don't get a response within the first 2-3 minutes itself, I'm lost, right? I'm not picking up another unknown number after that. After the site visit, if, there could be 100 different reasons why there's a mismatch, right? And I'll come back to this site visit part next. The third, at the booking stage, I feel like I'll actually combine the second and the third part together, right? We look at this very linearly, right? That, okay, site visit, lead generation, site visit, booking, and so on and so forth. But buying a house is an emotional decision, right? Which is never in a straight line. So no one is going, like very, very few people are going in with that clarity of thought that, I want a 3 BHK today and I need to close this down within the next 2-3 months, right? Because very few people are in a rush to close their house. So I could just be exploring now, I could just be building up my mindset that, I may buy 6 months later, 1 year later, when I get married, when I have a kid, when my parents retire, something or the other, right? Like there's 1,000 different reasons. But most builders stop re-engaging their customers after the site visit has also happened, right? Which I think is criminal. Like, we discovered this when we started engaging a lot of people for referrals, right? So we have a term VDNB, right? Visit done, not booked. So we started engaging VDNB customers 6 months later that, hey, will you give us a referral? Will you generate a lead? And that's sort of when we started realizing that customers start repurchasing from there, right? Because when you think of a referral, you think of everything good about the property. And when you think of everything good, you sort of start convincing yourself. And that's sort of where site visit to booking I've realized is a very nuanced thing, and developers have taken a very linear way. Large guys can sell out at launch, which is a different thing. More mid and smaller things, and in a market which is plateauing now, right? In a plateauing market, you need to have a harder focus on the VDNB and VDNB base.
And Hafsa, would you agree that it is, I mean, you interact with buyers or end users quite often as a design architect. Would you agree that it's more so still an emotional decision when people purchase a property? Or, you know, as you earlier mentioned, it's a lot of AI, you know, that's come into the market. I frankly still, you know, even though I'm a tech background, I still can't wrap my head around all the AI talk. But do you think it's a lot more people putting in AI tools as buyers to try and understand the feasibility of the project, try and understand the returns of the project? Between the two, which one would you lean towards?
See, to be very honest, social media has become the Bible of everything because, you know, the age group that we are looking at are not emotional anymore. If you really ask me about the demographics of, you know, the buyers that we have in Bombay or sorry, Mumbai or any part of the India, there are demographics which are around 35 to 40, which are tending to be the new age buyers, and they are highly relied on, you know, the technology part of it. And all of it, I mean, they've lost patience as well. I mean, we all would agree to that, you know. Whereas the buyers who are using their emotions, they are not the people whose decisions are derived from, you know, AI part of it. So yes, you know, being an architect, and of course, you know, when leading a business which is full of real estate, I think it should not be a decision made out of AI or social media. At the end of the day, all of us would want to experience the space rather than, you know, just see it for the sake of seeing it. Like I said, you know, there are cons to it, there are pros to it. The con majorly is, you know, you don't always get what you see. You have to experience it. And at the end of the day, you know, your experience should speak more about your decision more than what you see at the end of the day.
And when a client comes to you and they've possibly seen a social media reel or, you know, something on social media, has it shifted the way clients then interact in terms of visualizing spaces? And how do you address that usually in your design philosophy?
So what they see is, of course, what would they want at the end of the day. It's more about trust, you know. Then there's a parameter of trust that comes. Okay, you've shown this, you have to deliver this. But if you ask me as a designer or an architect, I would just end up saying artist impression, to be very honest, you know, because at the end of the day, designers tend to have a little bit of flair into, you know, and that's what all the marketing people do. I mean, at the end of the day, we would want to say 10 things, of course, deliver 9 out of those, but then one of it is, of course, for the flair and for the glitz and glam. But if you ask me as an architect, should we do this, or, you know, should it be the way the spaces are perceived? Yes. At the end of the day, we should promise and deliver what we give, but, you know, also make it look beautiful at the end of the day, you know, because beauty is everything.
So a lot of good talk about Instagram and social media. But, you know, with the pressure of sales and Rushabh, the amount of inventory that Rustomjee sells, with this very real pressure of sales and to move quarterly inventory every sort of annual, every quarter, every year, how do you balance that sort of long-term brand building strategy as well as maintaining, you know, sales velocity?
I think that's the question I answer in every board review. At what's your branding spend and what is your performance spend? And if I ask, and real estate as a category is more sales driven, so they will have a slightly more say in terms of, you know, what we should be doing. But at the end of the day, that is my job to ensure that there is a balance that we maintain. Sales driven or tactical campaigns, while they may deliver short-term results, you know, putting up a 20/80, 10/90 or a discount, no stamp duty, etc., while they may push numbers for the quarter, but they take out a lot from the brand in the long run. Yeah, because now the customer is expecting, acha, offer is coming, I'll wait. Yeah, so that becomes the norm for certain brands, and not saying that, you know, we don't do it. Yeah, there is a lot of pressure. We are a listed company, numbers are declared, we need to achieve top lines, and at times we need to do that. But as a CMO, my role is to ensure that a buyer paying, like I was talking to a couple of the panelists here, that, you know, we charge 20-30% extra. Now, why is the buyer going to pay that 20% extra for the same, you know, square footage that he's going to get? Because of the trust that is being built over time. And trust will get built when you do a lot of branding activities. And I'm saying activities and not campaigns, because campaign is one activity. There are a lot of things that we do, like, you know, Akhil also mentioned, without having a very strong loyalty program, we have very strong loyalty sales. Yeah, because we do a lot for our customers. That's part of my brand building activity. There are brand campaigns also that are being run, which builds trust over time. I mean, we are close to 30 years in existence, but today, you know, Rustomjee is among the top 5 developers, not just by, you know, top line, but more perceptually than top line. So that's where the tussle is always, and this is going to remain, right? This is the nature of the category where, you know, we have projects which are scheduled to be sold out, whether in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on the type of project. Initially, you will do a lot of brand building for that project as well, to create the awareness, to create USPs of the project, and then you kind of, you know, milk the cow, as you say, with offers, etc., at the fag end. But that is something which is very, very, you can say, a fine line that us as marketeers need to kind of adhere to. Not overdo brand building, because then it has immediate impact on the next quarter or the next quarter or the next 6 months, and not do over promotion of, you know, promotional offers basically, yeah, which dilutes the brand completely. Maybe after I win this quarter, but I win the 5-year battle. Yeah, that's the way I would like to put it.
And Palak, would you agree to that, which is that, you know, a lot of challenge or debate in my mind is how do developers sort of balance between having a promotional month, you know, wherein they say, look, in this month we're going to give X% or lower price on particular project. How would they balance that with the fact then that the end buyer or the user gets accustomed to it on a yearly basis and waits to purchase from that particular developer only in that particular month, right? And yes, developers may see a boost in sales in that month, but then throughout the year, the inventory sold is then sustenance, right? So what is the delicate balance that developers should play on this front in terms of, you know, is it a uniform activity they conduct on a annual basis, on a monthly basis, or is it something which developers should hold on and kind of release only once in a quarter or once in a year?
I think like Rushabh said, you know, it all depends on the top line and the sales numbers at the end of the day. So there's no fixed formula to it, I would say, okay? It always depends on the market sentiments, one, okay? And I would say the brand capacity and the developer's capacity to hold on to the right inventory and sell it at the right time, you know? So offer-driven inventory or festive-driven inventory, okay? It again all affects at the end of the day at the P&L, you know? So there's no right time to it though, but yes, customer conversions definitely happen more during festives and during offers, I would say.
Fair. I think I'm going to change the format slightly into more of a rapid fire. So just shorter, quicker answers, a little bit on social media, but also a little bit towards the general industry. Akhil, we can start with you, which is, what do you think the next phase of the industry would be, you know, in terms of, is it aggregation of certain, aggregation of the space, or is it more so, you know, what is the next technology really that would hit the real estate market, which we are currently ignoring?
So the last innovation in real estate was the swimming pool and gym that happened 30 years ago, right? Branded residences is the flavor of the season, which is, the same thing with a brand stuck on it, right? Which doesn't really make sense. I feel like there's an opportunity for that to change. I feel like, and that's sort of what we are working towards as the operating system of real estate. And technology is going to play a more central life, right? Everything is being designed around the house and the customer living in that house. So how do you design the building, your living space, the common area, everything, right? Brands deserve a premium, but the brands deserve a premium when you solve for the common area far better than the space inside the house. And that's the larger theme that I think of, right? Like, and the bunch of new technologies that builders need to incorporate, including drones, electric vehicles, robotics is going to be a very big, humanoid robots has become real now. There's a bunch of these things that builders haven't started factoring for because, it's still slightly early in the curve. But I think in the next 2-3 years, you're going to see a lot of this change very, very fast.
And Hafsa, is tech now good to have or a need to have? Is it something that sort of cements the long-term immune system of developers and channel partners?
You mean the tech part of it?
Yes.
Tech has always been important, I think a backbone of, I think developers and channel partners. And I think more towards, because we are moving towards the age of technology, I think it's going to be the backbone of it. And to add to that, again, I'm sure you've not wrapped your head around it, but AI is going to take over everything. And it's very saddening to see that, a real estate forum like us, which is heavily dependent on humans, is going to be diminished slowly. So, we have to think about alternatives.
Interesting. Jay, so I work partially in Dubai as well, and I've seen a lot of brands in Dubai now tie up with certain sort of, whether it's automobile brands or, hoteliers to kind of brand their project. Is that something that's next sort of change in the Indian market as well? And will social media kind of catapult that?
I think ultimately that's what I think brands will do what buyers want. And I think buyers are moving towards more of aspirational value creation. So I think in Dubai we have seen, or in Europe we have seen Louis Vuitton residences and all those coming in. So I'm sure India, starting with Mumbai, Gurgaon market, will see that coming in future because that's where aspirations are getting created. And I think social media will again play a very, very important role doing that again because we have to market where our buyers are. And I think two brands joining hands together. I think we've already seen Jacob & Co. in Gurgaon launching the residential towers. So I think we'll have something similar also coming soon in every part of the country is what we envisage for.
And Nishit, a lot of brands, now we have a lot of developers in the market, whether it's here, whether it's, abroad in Dubai as well, a lot of Indian developers moving there. What is it that developers should do now to differentiate themselves?
I think one of the most important things that they should be doing is to have a more comprehensive approach towards the social media or Instagram as a whole, which is wherein, as I previously mentioned, the information that they really want should definitely be given to them. So, because the attention span is so less, so if I am seeing a reel or ad, at least I need to know where exactly it is, what am I going to get out of it. And, and if we are talking about the more luxury bit of it, like because I think right now our discussion is most towards the big developers. There are many developers out there. He already knows and what kind of, but if we talk about those ones, so I think these branded residences is also a good technique wherein you can actually charge a premium. So I am for it that we should be doing these collaborations as maybe more managed spaces like a Leela residence or a Mercedes residence, and these kind will definitely be attractive on Instagram as well.
Super. Palak, in terms of brands currently in the market, the way they position themselves, the way they try to strengthen themselves, we spoke a lot about Instagram, but what other social media platforms would you put a sort of, a Facebook over an Instagram? Would you put Google Ads? How would you rank essentially the different social media platforms, and which platforms should a channel partner be, allocating their funds towards?
I think, yes, still people still do a lot of search ads, Google platforms. They do a lot of AdWords. They do Facebook. A lot of them also do for certain set of projects. They do LinkedIn as well, you know, for the kind of ticket size that they want to target the set of audience. But I think in all of this, Instagram still plays the core role. Because even if you're maybe a teenager or a 35-year-old buyer or maybe a CEO, CXO, today I think at all age groups, everybody scroll those reels. Maybe the numbers in terms of the advertising numbers on YouTube Shorts are much, much higher than Instagram in terms of revenue generation. But still, I think Instagram in terms of popularity and the content that flows and people who consume that content is very high. So yes, first still goes to Instagram.
Okay, it would be a short conversation if it wasn't Instagram on this panel. Rushabh, in terms of Rustomjee, I had asked this slightly earlier as well. We did touch on it, but do you think social media like an Instagram has improved the lead quality that comes into Rustomjee, or is it just sort of the sales volume that has now been inflated?
No, I think Instagram, the way I look at it is it's my first site visit. Yeah, because today everything is put it up. You've got creators who put up walkthroughs. There are lifestyle images. There are renders. You know, architects give us beautiful renders, and like we put artist impression. That's more to get them excited. But I think before the site visit actually happens, he's already visited the site in his mind. Yeah. So and because of the aggregators, they also do a comparison. Yeah, so if there are 4 properties in a particular location, they already know if they're not coming via a channel partner, the aggregator helps them. That, you know, this has got this amenity, this has got that amenity, this is the PSF, this is the pro, this is the con. So the buyer is more informed when he comes to the site to a point where, unfortunately, if I've got a management trainee kind of talking to the client at times would probably know more than the trainee itself, because he's done so much more research online that he's made up his mind between 2 brands. Now he just wants to ratify. And I agree that, you know, today, while everything is moving towards digital, wherever we've got show flats, you know, the client, the moment of truth is when he enters the flat. And my observation is his face. Yeah, because whether he smiles or whether he frowns is where the decision is made. Then you tell him whatever about the apartment, it's all, I want to get it done with. Yeah, but that's that wow moment. He's made his kind of all the check boxes. Now he wants to experience. The experience is good. Then it is about price and they close. Yeah, so for me, Instagram is my first site visit, and we treat it like that. And we also ensure that whatever we've put up, say for example on Instagram or YouTube, that experience is actually followed up by our site teams. Yeah, because a lot of times you may have brilliant, beautiful renders, walkthroughs, but when you go to the site is dirty, the sales manager is shabbily dressed, or, you know, those experiences today, especially when we are selling properties upwards of 7 crores, it's the experience that sells rather than the ad that sells. So what you go there and experience, like you got a menu card of juices coming to you, and then, you know, the next site you don't have that, and, you know, it's like, oh, you know what, that was better. Why? Because juices were served? No, but it was the overall experience at the site which made him kind of feel so exclusive that, you know, even before my home is ready, they are treating me like a king. So obviously my home is going to be brilliant. So that's the way we are looking at it. That's the way the entire, circus is being run at Rustomjee, and we try and ensure that we live up to the expectations of the consumers.
Quite the rapid answer, but I do agree to a lot of the points that you brought up. I think one of the things what we didn't discuss today was on data privacy. So Sushant, a little bit if you can touch on that, since a lot of the first clicks, as Rushabh mentioned, is your first site visit is on Instagram. So a lot of the data is being stored on these platforms. How are developers sort of safeguarding their end customer, their client, through data privacy policies? And also, how is a client assured that, or how is, in fact, a developer, from your perspective, assured that this lead that has come on social media, since it's not a referral, not word of mouth, how is it that it may not, it won't sort of move from a Pride World City to a different developer?
So actually it's all about how do all the platforms are getting integrated to one system, and the entire system wherein all the leads are getting populated is secured over there. So if we have to talk about the social media, then on social media, majorly the campaigns, wherever the lead lands up, it's either on the enquiry forms, which are integrated with the lead campaigns. So in that case, I don't think there is a problem because it very safely drops to the CRM, and the entire drip happens from there. The only leads which are sort of in trouble are the ones who show their interest through their comments. Now, this is something which is really open to everyone because it's a social media platform, it's public. So that is something wherein either the competitors or maybe anybody who is related to the similar businesses, they take benefit out of it, but that cannot be controlled. But at this point in time, be it the WhatsApp, be it any chat application that has been integrated on the landing page, on the website, all of this gets very well integrated with strong systems like maybe Salesforce or Lead Squared or any other CRM for that matter. And if that is very well placed by the marketing teams, wherein the automations and all the drip campaigns are in place, then there is no reason for that lead to actually go to the wrong hands.
Bang on time. So I think with 1 second to go, my job as a moderator has been concluded here today of time management. So thank you to our panelists. Great insights, great energy, and I think enough content for the next few Instagram reels. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Please give them a big round of applause. And I'll request all of you to please wait on stage. I'm going to be calling upon stage Mr. Tushar Mistry from Principal Architect Tushar Mistry Design Studio to please kindly come up on stage and give the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers. And anybody over here wanting to learn time management skills, Mr. Puri is the man. You can learn it from him. He's going to be definitely helping in that space. Do a nice group photograph with all of you over here at the front. We don't want the tables. If you all can come forward, that would be the ideal one. Thank you.